What's going on, everyone? This is Matt, Squeaky Clean Air. Today we're going to be bagging a Mazda a Mazda 3. We're going to be doing coilover conversion. We're going to be converting BCs into Squeaky Clean Air bags, and we're going to be installing the Squeaky Clean Air digital management setup. So stay tuned. All right, so a beautiful summer day. This is the Mazda 3. It's on BC coilovers right now. Let's give a shout out to Roxanne the Hatch. And this is going to be a pretty exciting project. This is actually the daughter of Lola the Corolla, which we bagged recently. And she wanted to go bags as soon as she saw her dad go bags, which is cool. So the car is here. Same kind of a setup. We're going to go and we're going to be doing... it's closed, but they have the same sort of a sub setup. We're going to be doing the hardline setup on top of the sub setup. We're going to be wiring the digital management controller inside, and she's going to be going down. So stay tuned. Right, so this thing, all right, this thing is on the left. Finished the rears. So let me give you a little bit of an insight in regards to how to do the rears. The rears are super simple. We have a direct fit bag, so our bag utilizes the lower mount, which allows you to mount it to the lower mount. That way you retain the specifics of the actual lower mount. So it's a flat mount. It doesn't add any issues. It doesn't add any overhead. A lot of the bags out there on the market, they're big cups. In this particular case, this one basically fits right on the lower mount. So you retain the rubber sort of lower mount, and then you just retain it by a spacer in the bottom and a nut and a bolt which protrudes on the bottom of the actual bag. And then the top is very simple, so retain the factory rubber cup, and then that cup will go over here. So when you explode the bag, when you fill the bag, it'll go right in between, exactly like the factory spring is. I ran the fitting right in the back. Very simple. Also cleaned up the tie rod end threads. Reason why I did that is because I had to lower the lower control arm in order to fit the bag in there. It's a good idea to clean the threads. If you guys watch some of my other videos, I talk about how important it is to clean the threads when you're putting back the bolts. I cleaned up the bolt here and the threads as well, so it's nice and easy for it to thread out, as well as I cleaned up as best as I could, obviously, because this car has been winter driven. What is it? I guess in this case it would be the toe adjustment. I don't think it's camber. Camber would be on top. You need camber arms for these cars if you want camber. I don't think it has factory camber. I think it only has a toe. So clean up the toe adjustment, bolts on both sides. Same thing for the other side. That's the bag just sits in there. So very, very simple. As you guys can see, I like reusing the factory lower mounts just because you have a direct fit bag. And by putting it together with it, you're basically creating the air spring. And bada bing, bada boom. Same thing on top. This goes right over the factory little nipple that's in there. No grinding, no cutting. The opening on the top of the bag is specific for this car. So what happens is once the bag is inflated, obviously it'll create a sit in there in the mount, and it'll sit in here, and it won't come out for double safety. And that's pretty much it. So what we're gonna do now is the rears are in. The shocks are in. Basically what we're doing, again, we're doing a BC racing conversion. So our kit is specific for this car because these are specific rear bags. The shocks are untouched because they were previously installed. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start running the lines. And while I run the lines, I'm going to also convert the fronts. So then that way I can run the rear lines, the front lines, put it into static air, and then I'll already be able to see how this car is, it airs out. And whether I need to do any adjustments in the rear in order for it to go lower. If I do, that's a trade secret. There's certain things that need to be done in order to make these cars go lower, or we'll see how it actually sits, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, nice and easy direct fit bag, and I'm about to run the lines for the rear and for the front. I'll show you guys how to run the lines on this car. And I'm going to convert the fronts, and bada boom, bada boom. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So I ran the lines already. I already inflated the bags. The bags are already inflated. How did I run the lines? Well, very simply, on the side of the trunk, right here, there's vents. So you can route all the lines on both sides. It's the same thing. You guys can see it over here as well too. Let me move it out of the way. Obviously, we did a static air setup right there. Kind of a shitty angle. There you go. So there's vents hidden behind. You got to remove these panels. We did shorter valves. These are the backs that are inflated. The fronts are not connected yet. I ran the lines to the front. I'll show you guys in a second how I did it. This way allows me to sort of do a static air setup and have the rears inflated. So now what I can do is I can put back the wheels and see how the rear drops and whatnot. Sits nice. Everything is good. How do I run the line? So once I went through the vents in here, you can fish them out right here. Sort of they'll go behind there, so you fish them out. I fished them out and ran them behind here, the subframe. Kind of looped it, went in through the opening over here, as you guys can see. And it's very simple. Literally just run the line underneath the panels, the lower panels. You guys can see over here. Let me give you guys a better idea. You can't see the lines because they're underneath the panels. These are all 10. And then just go all the way through, run it behind the plastic panels, excuse me. All the way through out. All the way through out here, where it comes out, and then it goes right into the front wheel wall that you can connect it to a ladder line or connect it to a line. And same idea on the other side. So a lot of cool plastic panels underneath the Mazda 3. So very simple to route the lines underneath the panels. Same idea. I think the actual fuel lines or brake lines or whatever run underneath here. And there it comes out. And then it's going to go around into the wheel well. So that's how you can get it to the front. And obviously you can hide it behind these covers. But through the rear vents, underneath the lower panel of the Mazda 3, let me kind of bring it up. I looped it around the subframe over here, kind of running behind here, away from moving elements. Obviously, you want to move it away from any tie rods, any sort of compressing control arms or anything like that, because you don't want to, you don't want the line to crush. You don't want it to be under a lot of tension as well, because a lot of tension and movement will eventually chafe the line, and you don't want it to break. It usually won't break unless it's exposed to a lot of heat. Obviously, if you guys are working on exhaust or anything like that, this exhaust is far away from the line, so definitely nothing to worry about. And right underneath the subframe, so bada bing bada boom, going through here. The rear ones are connected to the backs from the back, obviously away from the sway bar end links. And the rule of thumb is you want to run it without too much resistance when you're running lines. And what you guys want to do is you also want to run it on sort of locations or places that it will not kind of come in contact with a control arm. When a control arm sort of compresses, you know, it kinks the lines or anything like that. So that's pretty much it for that. Very simple, straightforward. There's a lot of sort of like nooks and crannies where it's easy to run the lines on the Mazda 3 and all the way to the front through these plastic panels. And the rears are done. The lines already ran, fronts and the backs. Now I'm going to convert the fronts. Probably not today. Time to go to bed. Convert the fronts and connect the lines in the front, so then I'll be able to have static air for both the fronts and the rear, see how this thing sits on the ground. And then I'll begin obviously working on the custom trunk setup. We're going to do a hardline setup for this guy, for this Mazda 3, and some kind of cool innovative stuff. So definitely ahead of schedule for this one. It only took me a couple hours to do this. It doesn't take very long to bag a car, realistically. I would beware of shops that tell you that they can bag a car in a couple hours. You can. But that means they're really rushing. They're trying to get it out and kind of take your money. Realistically, if you want to properly bag your car, you need to give yourself at least a couple days, because you want to first sort of do the initial installations. You want to do a couple good hours for the setup. Take it for a road test. Check for leaks and whatnot. If shops are pumping it out in a couple hours, then they're charging you pretty hefty rates. I would be kind of worried about it. So it definitely takes time. Take your time when you're doing air suspension. I'm always an avid supporter of that. Take your time, especially if you guys are going to do it yourself. I highly encourage you to guys to do air suspension yourself. It's not as complicated. Keep watching my video and supporting the channel, and I'll keep pumping some more. Keep watching the YouTube channel, I mean, and I'll try to record a lot. Wow, somebody really has pops and bangs set up. That's pretty wild. I can hear it through my garage. Anyways, keep watching the YouTube channels. I really appreciate any feedback and support, and I'll keep pumping out videos as I keep bagging these cars. And if this is something what you guys like, then subscribe, and thank you very much. And we're going to continue on as we go.